Hi everyone, this is Emily Leiphart here for Tailored Expressions, and in today's video I'm sharing projects using the ingredients from the Hey There kit. Here's a look at what you get with the Hey There kit. Everything comes in a fabulous 9" by 13" pouch which has the name of the kit and the Tailored Expressions logo. The bright pink zipper is super cute and there's a lot of room inside for you to store your in-progress projects to keep everything together. The first ingredient is the Hey There Stamp Stencil Combo. Get this large rubber cling stamp set with 3 Hey There stamps in different styles, outline, solid, and striped. Let me open this and show you the 3 layering stencils. As you can see on the front of the pouch and the stamp set, these stencils will create the 3 shadows on the letters to make them look 3-dimensional. I love that there are 3 stencils for the outer, inner, and bottom sides of the letters so that each side can be stenciled in a different color. Also included is the Hey There Shadow Die, which cuts out the stamped letters in combination with the stenciled shadows. Next is the Good Vibes stamp set, which includes 7 additional sentiments. These can be used on their own, on the inside of a card, or in combination with the big Hey There sentiment. This is the Dottie Ray stencil, which is absolutely adorable. It's made to radiate from the big Hey There sentiment, and you can use this as is, or just on one side, just like I do in my projects. The second 6 by 6" stencil is the Hey There Sunshine stencil, and this one is also intended to work perfectly with the big Hey There sentiment. I feel that sunray stencils are must-haves, and I'm so happy that this kit has its own sunray stencil. This kit also comes with 6 envelopes in a beautiful rainbow assortment, so I'm going to draw my inspiration from these colors. Finally, you get 6 envelope seals, 1 for each envelope. I'll be using 2 of the 3 Hey There sentiments to create my off-the-edge die-cut cards and shaped tags. I've taken the foam insert out of my mini Misty stamping tool so these rubber cling stamps can fit in it, and I'm stamping on sugar cube cardstock. I've placed the stamp slightly more to the right to allow extra space on the left for stenciling the shadows, and I stamped the sentiment in Oreo ink. I do this for both versions in the outline font and the striped font. Each of the 3 stencils is numbered so you know which stencil to use first. They're also etched with alignment guides, which makes them super easy to line up with the stamped letters. With the first stencil, I'm going to use the Lollipop mini ink pad and the coordinating blender brush. I clean the stencil and shift it down to the second sentiment using candy corn ink. It's so much fun to choose different color combos for these stencils. Moving on to stencil number 2, I'm using lemon meringue for the first sentiment and lime zest for the second one. Switching to stencil number 3, I use confetti cake ink for both sentiments, and this finishes all of the shadows. Next, I die cut the sentiments using the coordinating Hey There Shadow die. Don't they look amazing? As you can see, they're pretty substantial, and this is where I got the idea to make shaped tags, which you'll see after I finish the cards. I've cut this panel from a sheet of 8.5 by 11 lemon meringue cardstock. I've cut it down the center so it measures 4¼ inches by 11 inches. Then I line up the bottom edge of the die at 3½ inches and hold it in place with removable tape. I have the panel sitting in my Platinum 6 die cutting machine on a cutting plate and the cutting platform. I only want to cut the top half of the word Hey, so I'm going to place the edge of the top cutting plate slightly past that center and run it through. Once I place it back in my scoreboard, I'm going to score it at 4¾ inches. But only from the edge of the card to the edge of the die cut. Since it's hard to tell which line it is on the other side of the die cut, I'm going to flip the panel so I can see exactly which line to score the card base on the other side. It folds so easily, and now all I have to do is trim off the 1½ inch excess. When that's done, it fits perfectly into an A2 envelope. Now I will repeat the same process with the second card. I place the bottom edge of the die at 3½ inches and run it through my die cutting machine so it die cuts half of the word Hey. Then I score the panel on the other side of the partial die cut. I trim off the 1½ inch excess and my second card base is done. Next, I'm going to use the Good Vibes stamp set to stamp the secondary sentiments on the front of the card. On the lemon meringue card base, I thought it would be perfect to use the sentiment that reads, "Consider this card a great big squeeze." And on the confetti cake card base, I use the sentiment that reads, "Sending good vibes." Again, I'm stamping these with Oreo ink. Now I'm going to use the Dottie Ray stencil on both cards. For the first card, I'm going to do tone-on-tone ink blending with lemon meringue ink. Then I clean the stencil and take the Versamark watermark ink pad, ink up those Dottie Rays, and heat emboss clear embossing powder over top of the ink blending to give the card some shine. I make sure to apply heat to both the front and back of the cardstock to minimize warping. On the second card, I used the sugar cube ink to ink blend through the dot erase stencil, then used white embossing powder to create shiny white dots. The sugar cube white pigment ink is amazing, and I would have left it as is without heat embossing, but I wanted to add that extra something. Now it's time to assemble the card. I wanted to add some dimension to the card while leaving it mailable, so I die cut 3 layers of the Hey There shadow die from sugar cube cardstock and used liquid glue to adhere them together. I do this for both die cuts and attach them to the card with liquid glue. Now my cards are done. They're simple but have lots of visual interest, from the seemingly 3D letters, stacked die cuts, plus the shiny heat embossed stenciling. Off camera, I've stamped, stenciled, and die cut 2 more of these sentiments, and I'm going to make shaped tags or note cards with them. This time I'm keeping them 1 layer, but I've die cut 2 bases for each of the tags from Lollipop and Candy Corn cardstock. I scored just the back layer at 1 3/8 of an inch, and again I scored both sides of the cardstock. Then I apply score tape above that score line and attach the 2 base pieces together. I use liquid glue to adhere the sentiment to the front of the tag. Now you can see why I score the back. It makes opening the tag nice and neat. Plus, it opens flat so it's easy to write in. I use a pencil to mark where I need to punch the hole for the cord. I use a 1/8 inch punch, line it up with the pencil mark, and punch the holes. Then I cut a length of cord from my stash that is double the length of the tag, or in this case the width. Loop it and string it through from back to front. Now my 2 tags are done. Here are all 4 of the projects featured in this video, including 2 off-the-edge die-cut cards and 2 shaped tags. I hope you're inspired to create with the Hey There kit. The design possibilities and color combinations are truly endless, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. Thank you so much for watching! You can find all of these products in the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com. See you again soon!